Welcome to the Read Your Keys show. I am your host, Joe Lopez, and if you're enjoying the content, please like, squish, and smash those like and subscribe buttons. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Today, my guest is Stefan Grant. You can find him on Twitter at StephIsDope with two underscores under there.
Yeah,
Also the
man.
same on Instagram. He
Mm,
is a husband, father, founder of Polymath Design and Noir B&B, building dope websites and brands to help you make money online. Also the co-host of the Brick by Brick show,
yeah.
which I also enjoyed as well.
Thank you.
Stefan,
Yes,
welcome
sir.
to the show.
My man, how you doing, bro? Thank you for the opportunity.
Doing good. And you're out in Florida?
Yeah, South Florida, man, in the Fort Lauderdale area. Best state in the
Hot as
country, man.
hot as
My
balls?
favorite. Oh, honestly, it's been pretty cool, man. I mean, we get a little breeze every now. It can be humid, but it's actually
Mm-hmm.
been pretty cool. It hasn't been too bad.
We're gonna be at like 112
Where
today.
you
I
where
mean,
you
I'm in
located?
Arizona, Phoenix.
Arizona. Oh, brother, I know it's crazy hot out there. Yeah, man. It's
Yeah.
it's hot just on a regular basis, but I mean, this summer
Mm-hmm.
has been extra hot. So yeah,
People be like, "It's a dry heat." It's like, it's hot, man. It's
yeah,
hot.
yeah. It's a
Stop.
desert heat. Yeah.
Uh, I made the mistake. I work out outside. Like we got a little park here, a little
Mm,
grass area,
yeah.
and I went out like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because I missed. I usually work out in the morning, and I work
Yeah.
out barefoot. I
Mm.
went out there barefoot, and
Oh
like
man.
the grass was hot.
I
Like it was
already
like
know.
burning my feet hot. I was like, I made a mistake. I didn't think
Yeah,
this all the
man.
way through. So I had to like put water on my feet and like I got to go back inside, man. It was crazy.
Crazy, man. Yeah.
But thanks so much for coming on, man. One of the reasons that I liked, I wanted to invite you on the show is just I really enjoy your timeline, and it seems like I'll see you on the TL, and then I'll be like, dang, what happened to Stefan? Damn, he got. And then I'll see a tweet pop up. I got suspended again, and so it's just like,
Yeah.
dude, how many times have you been suspended?
I've been suspended twice, man, and it's crazy because my first profile I had a verified blue check profile the whole nine because I got verified because of being a founder of my company Noir B&B, and we got a lot of press in the whole nine. So I mean like you get that blue check. I guess if you're like a professional or a journalist, politician, whatever. So verified professional profile, the whole nine. I had like almost 50,000 followers and a very big, strong brand. And
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, I can be kind of opinionated. So
Mm-hmm.
with that, just with having I kick a lot of entrepreneur game and life stuff. And I talk about politics and just social stuff and everything like that, which I mean, I feel like regular people do. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, because when I'm a black dude who's, I don't really consider myself conservative. I mean, I probably have some
Mm-hmm.
conservative leanings, but I'm not
Mm-hmm.
really that liberal either. I'm just kind of, I'm like a regular person. I feel like my ideology is like what people used to believe in the '90s. Like it was just common sense stuff, like it's regular stuff, right? But now, because I'm pretty opinionated, a lot of people hated on my opinions, and people would like they went on like on mass reporting campaigns. Like I saw people act like after I got suspended, I saw people admit to like yeah, like I reported this paid like just literally with the intent just to get me suspended. I wasn't out there abusing anybody or doing anything crazy, but yeah, man, they got my
That's
profile
crazy.
suspended. Yeah, man. So
And that's interesting. And I think maybe that's why I really enjoy you because you're just a regular dude. And like I think I'm just a regular dude. Like
yeah,
sometimes I've been sending some like kind of like I don't have that many followers, but it's like I've been kind of like, hey, like why do you follow me? It's like,
yeah.
oh, you're based. I was like, I'm based. I'm just regular, man.
I'm a
Like
regular dude. Yeah,
I'm just a regular dude. Um my values, like I'm a Christian, so like my
mm,
values haven't changed. The way I
yeah,
express them might because I'm older, and like before I would kind of like chop people down with them,
yeah.
and I get that. Like it's like
Mm,
you're young, you're not you don't really know what you're doing,
mm,
but I'm like, dude, like to me it's like this is nothing crazy. Like
yeah,
I'm not the crazy one. Like
yeah.
it really feels like we might be the same age. I just turned 40 this year, but I used to watch The Twilight Zone. I don't know if you ever
Oh
seen
yeah,
that show, The
I'm
Twilight.
familiar.
So there was a show or an episode where the guy woke up and he was regular and everybody else had pig faces. And then like
Mm,
everybody else was like, "Oh my gosh, he's crazy." He's like, "No, man, you guys all got pig faces."
yeah,
It kind of seems like
yeah,
that.
yeah. It's
Like
a
it's just
whole
like
bunch of pig faces around.
what happened to you guys? Like,
Yeah,
and like people like even like people were like who I grew up with, they'd be like, you think like that? Like, I remember when we used to kick it. Like you weren't like that. Like what
yeah,
what what happened? So like people kind of like I don't know. I guess they want to fit in,
yeah,
and I don't know if that was really a a big thing for me to like want to fit in. I always kind of did like my thing anyway. So I don't know
Yeah.
if you were like that also.
I mean, I've always kind of, I guess, moved to the beat of my own drum and did my own thing, but I never really like tried to be different. I mean, I mean, it was like, well, if you like what I'm saying, you like what I'm thinking, cool. If you don't, cool, it's whatever. Um,
Yeah.
but I think that the thing about it is that society has shifted so far to the left that if you're just a regular person who's just a regular dude, then it's like, and you've maintained your position, then it's like, okay, cool, like you're in the middle, but everybody else is shifted to the left, so now you look kind of
Hmm.
crazy. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but you're not crazy. We're not crazy. We're just regular
Yeah.
dudes,
They'd
man.
be like, I'll be like, you're a sexist masochist. It's like, dude, I'm married. I got daughters. I
Yeah,
like I want like I love my mom. Like I love
yeah.
like I had like like I want good things for women. Like people be like, oh, like one time I got called a Neanderthal. I was like, oh,
It's nuts,
okay,
bro.
okay,
And
because I
and
take care of my wife.
and like the funniest thing about it too is that like they like accuse you and I of these things, and then but the fact of the matter is in real life, like all the women in my life love me, they respect me, they adore me,
Yeah,
like we get along great, like it's awesome,
yeah.
right? And I mean, I've had women that I know in real life actually like jump up to defend me, because I mean I've been called I've been called like homophobic, and I've been called misogynistic. And one of my homegirls who's a lesbian had to jump up and be like, we've worked together, we've hung out, we've been friends for years. Like, you're
Hmm.
not homophobic, you're not this, you're not that. But like, but people, they want to just label you and call you whatever. And it's nuts, man. It's crazy. But like, this is just the world we live in right now. Like, people are just emotional, they're irrational. It's wild, man.
Um, I think the social media has a lot to do with it. Do you think that too? Because I mean, like people in real life don't really talk to you the way that they
In
do
real life don't really talk to you
online.
the way that they do online.
Look, can you hear me?
I can hear this little bit of a delay though.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think my audio went out for a bit.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I'm back.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. People, I think in real life they don't talk to you the way they do on
Oh
online. So
no.
I think that has a lot to like with the that massive shift.
Yeah, and you know what? I think, well, it's a couple of things. I mean, just politically and socially, things have shifted a lot to the left. But even just the way that people interact with others online, it's because they feel there's a bit of anonymity and there's a
Mm.
distance, and you're on the internet, so it's like there's no way he's gonna like ever see me and whatever, so it's like they get extra disrespectful. But for me, it's like if you saw me in real life, you would never speak to me that
Mm-hmm.
way, like that kind, like, yeah, like that energy. Even if we disagree, it would be a very respectful disagreement if we were ever in the same place. I don't know why people even behave that way, but I
Yeah,
mean, yeah,
it's kind of like road rage, right? Like in your car, you're gonna drive kind of crazy, and you get out. It's like this like little like mild mannered person,
yeah,
but like somehow they get in the car
yeah,
and like behind the car, it's like they have this anonymity within the car.
yeah,
So I think social media is kind of like the
yeah,
same thing. At the same time, yeah, it can be very toxic, but I found that like I've met like really cool people. Like I like I've said this multiple times that like I've met people online from Twitter, and I was
hmm
like, dang, if I told like myself from like 10 years ago, like, oh, you're meeting somebody from Twitter, I'm like, dang, you're a nerd, man. Like, what the heck?
yeah,
But it's been like some of like the
the
coolest, nicest
coolest
people,
people.
like people that like I'll text be like, hey man, how's it going? Like people who have helped me out personally. Like it's like, oh man, like this is it. Just like anything, it takes on the values of the person who's using it.
Yep,
If you got money, you could use it for money is an inanimate object. You can use it for good. You can go, build orphanages, you know, do great things with it, or you can do bad with it.
yep.
Just like anything. I think social media is the same way, and I think that you are trying to do good with it with your online business stuff, dropping the entrepreneurship game, like all that stuff. I think is a tool. Like it takes on the values of the person who's using it.
Exactly. And honestly, that really is what I'm trying to do, man. I mean, like I like to spark conversations and inspire people to think differently. But at the same time, like, yeah, kick information if I can, provide some advice, and really just connect with people. So even like you were saying, just meeting people online. I mean, a couple of years back it might have been weird, but now it's like Twitter gives you the ability to connect with like minds and people who are just on the
Hmm.
same page. And I met like people that I've been friends with online, like a lot of guys from even like California went to LA, connected with a bunch of them after knowing them online for years, and it's super cool to actually just sit down with them, have a meal, and have a drink, and really just connect because it's like
And it's
Twitter.
not it's not it's not it's not odd either. You would think that like, oh man, this is gonna be weird, but it's just like, oh man, it's like it's like a day one homie almost. It's like, damn,
Exactly.
that's what surprised me. It was like, oh, this is really weird. I had to like kind of like step back a minute and be like, dang, this is really weird. But I think part of it is because you are sharing like what your thoughts are and your opinions on things, and so people who like roll with that, like it's like,
Yeah.
all right, cool, like you can say what you need to say. One of the funny things though is I met some guys and they're like, "Hey, Joel, do you have you gone like full 100% on Twitter?" And I was like, "Hell no, I'm not going 100%. I'm not trying to get suspended."
Yeah, you
It's like, I'm
can't,
not trying to
bro.
get suspended, man.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I was actually thinking about writing an email last week, essentially saying that like social media really isn't your friend. Like it's cool to connect with people, but it's not the place to be 100. I mean, I try to be transparent, but you
Mm-hmm.
can't be 100% transparent because like these platforms, they they're like I can't even, it's like it's very authoritarian,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're not falling in the lines of what they want you to say and what they want you to believe, then they'll suspend you, and especially if you built a strong brand and built a strong following, then like yeah, like that can be very detrimental, you know what I mean? So I mean,
Yeah.
luckily I've been able to maintain a lot of my following. I mean, well, like now I think I just hit 2,000 followers on this new profile like yesterday, which is a far cry from 50,000. But I mean, social media marketing and content creation is kind of what I do. So I mean, I don't mind kind of working to build that back up. But now I have to, my approach has to be different because it's like I don't want to have to start from scratch for a
Yeah.
fourth time. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. But
Was
yeah.
it pretty quick to get to that 50 the first time around?
Honestly, my profile my profile got suspended in 2020, November 2020, that first one. But I had that profile since like June or July of 2009. So
Oh, wow.
it took me
Yeah.
11 years to get. I mean, I think that like when I really started using it to like build my brand and like I kind of put my marketing skills to use, I probably gained like 30,000 in about 2 years. So I mean, really,
Mm-hmm.
like the largest of it took about 2 years to grow. But before that, I was just kind of like promoting my music and just kind of talking shit. Like I wasn't really doing anything heavy with it. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it took about 2 years to kind of get to that point. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I had, I think mine started like in 2008 or 9, my
Hmm.
profile, but I
Yeah.
never tweeted.
Yeah.
I never used it.
Hmm.
It wasn't until I saw I was watching Joe Rogan and Hotep Jesus was on it. And
Yeah, that's
I
the
would I
homie.
would just kind of like go to his page because I like the way he talked. Like he was funny to me. So
Yeah.
I liked him. Uh Jason Whitlock and Curtis Schoon. So I would kind of like follow their pages and stuff
Hmm.
just to kind of go and be like, oh, what are these guys saying? These are interesting guys. But he went on Rogan's and he was like, Twitter is the best, and I was like, what? Like, what's he talking about? Like, let me
Yeah.
actually like go onto it and see. And uh, Hotep Jesus would retweet a guy, Coach Joe Hart,
Hmm.
who does flipping stuff, and he
Yeah.
would shout him out and flip, retweet his stuff. And I was like, oh, let me check out this Joe Hart dude. This guy seems pretty positive. And then he started flipping it, and I was like, oh, let me try out his stuff.
Yeah.
And like I made money off of that. I was like, oh damn, like this could be something, this is something different. I'm a W-2 guy, right? I got a family and stuff. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, like this is like really helpful. This just makes some extra cash. And so that was like the mind shift for like the aha for me was like, oh, this could be something different because this doesn't happen on Facebook, which was like where I was before, but I was kind of
Yeah.
tired of it already. It's
Mm.
like this could be something different. Like guys like you who are like, hey, like I can help you with web design. Here's entrepreneurship. Like that, those conversations weren't happening on Facebook, and it was just like, this is kind of boring.
Yeah.
And on Twitter, you can kind of find like, hey, if you're into fitness, if you're trying to make money, if you want to like build your relationships, like you can find like people who are like
Yeah.
talking about that stuff, and it really changes your mind about things, like
Yeah.
going back to like using it
The right
as
way.
a tool, or it
Yeah.
using you.
Yeah.
And so I think
Exactly.
before, like a lot of people let it use them.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like that's what these social media platforms do. Like the thing about it, you have to consider is if you're able to make a free account on a platform that and you're not buying a product, that means you're the product, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so the thing
yeah.
about it is, okay, if you're gonna spend time on these platforms, how can you use them to your benefit and really curate your experience? I mean, my thing is like, I mean, I follow a bunch of people, but I use a Twitter list very heavily, and I curate my list. So I have like money Twitter, which is like a bunch of entrepreneur guys, sales guys, copywriting, marketing, stuff like that. And then I
Who are
also
some of
have,
your favorite guys on there?
oh man, so definitely shout out to Joe. So Coach Joe, I think he changed his name to J Hart Flips now. And I
That's right.
actually,
That's
yeah, and congrats to him because I think him and his wife, not I think, but him and his wife
yeah,
just had their first child, so that's
yeah.
awesome.
Amen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I accidentally called him Josh when I was congratulating him. Yeah,
My bad.
yeah, but yeah, my bad. But shout out to Joe. He's a great dude. Definitely a host at Jesus. I've actually met him in real life. He came down to Florida, I think, for like a little mini vacation, and we sat down and chopped it up for like 10 minutes. So he's a really good dude. My boy Steven Story, awesome. He's very big in the
Oh yeah.
yeah, like he's big in the
Five
insurance
six
industry.
seven story. Steven
Yeah,
Story. He's 5'6".
yeah. 5'6", and
Yeah.
actually met him in real life, right? Sat down. I brought it when he came to Miami. I brought him to my favorite Cuban restaurant. We had lunch, had some drinks. Really cool guy. I'm gonna let the secret out. He's not 5'6", right? So there's that. Very tall, strong guy. Super cool dude. I think one of my other favorite followers or follows and followers. Definitely my guy Andrew Tate. He's killing the
Mhm.
internet right now, like absolute god of the game. But I love Tate because I mean, a lot of people hate him because I mean he talks a lot of shit and I could get it if you're like a normie or whatever. But one of the most genuine, great, solid, like just stand up guys, super empathetic, caring, just all around good guy. Talks a lot of shit, makes tons of money, and
Mhm.
might come off like an a-hole to a lot of people, but genuinely good dude. Um, yeah, man, tons of folks on there, man, really good guys that I met on there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What other well let's go kind of like switch gears a little bit and talk about like you and your web design stuff. How
yeah.
did you get into that? Cuz how old are you if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 33 years old.
Okay, so
Yeah.
a little bit younger, but like like the internet game to me was like I was busy. Like I got married like young, like
Hmm.
I was in my early 20s when I got married, so I was like working and stuff like that. So the internet to me was always like, oh, that's like stuff that like kids mess around with. Like
Yeah.
Twitter, like, oh, that's stuff that kids mess around with.
Yeah.
But like now I'm like, oh, like this is like digital. Like I was big into real estate. I really liked real estate, but
Hmm.
like the thing with real estate is, capital, having credit, those things. The website stuff, the Twitter stuff, it's like, oh, this is like digital real estate. Like
Oh
this
yeah.
is you can create something of value. So how was it that you like my mind kind of changed on that? What kind of prompted you to kind of like mess around in, or not mess around, but like get into like web design and these types of things?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I mean, you kind of said it perfectly, man. Like, I really got into originally, I really got into like social media probably when I was honestly before I should have ever been on there. There was a platform called Black Planet around in the early 2000s.
Yep, I heard.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So I was on there way younger than I was supposed to be. And that was like my first foray into social media. Then in like my sophomore year of high school, one of these girls was talking about MySpace, and I was like, MySpace, what's that? And then when I got on there, I was like, oh, like a bunch of kids from my school are on here. So I got on there. And the thing about me is like I'm very sociable. I talk a lot of shit. I joke a lot, stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I took that
That's
same
why I like you.
energy. I appreciate that. Thank you, man. So I took that same energy from just who I was and did that online and made a lot of friends on MySpace and then like started customizing my profile and like learning HTML and little stuff like that. And then so I was doing that for years and then doing Facebook and I was doing photography and videos and rapping and making music and the whole nine. And essentially how I got into web design was because I was like, all right, well, I'm a musician. I need a website. I need graphic design. I need album covers. I need graphics for my flyers and my events when I do shows and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, cool. Like I had one guy who I was working with who was a friend. He helped me build my first website, built it for me. He was helping me with like my album covers and stuff like that. But he wasn't the most reliable guy. So I was like, all right, well, I need to start doing this stuff myself. So I ended up kind of just like learning a little stuff like that, and then I ended up partnering with another guy. Guys, I'm still friends with my guy AJ. Shout out to AJ, man, super good dude. And when it was time to rebuild my website, he got me acclimated with WordPress. And I was like,
Mm.
okay, cool. Like how do I like work this? So I started messing around with it. I'm designing my own site, adding content, writing blogs, making videos, YouTube, the whole nine. And then I was making like some flyers for my events, and somebody hit me up and was like, yo, who does your design? And I was like, I do. And they were like, all right, well, like, yo, I need a flyer. Like, how much you want? And I was like, damn, like, I can get paid for
Yeah.
this. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Like, yo, just give me $100. I'll make you a flyer, or whatever. And yeah, like I designed a flyer for them. They loved it. They paid me. I think my next gig was somebody wanted a podcast graphic for their podcast. I did that, and then I was like, oh wow, like, all right, cool. Like, I can build a business from this. So then I started practicing on my website some more, making other sites, and people were like, "I need a website," and I was like, "All right, well, I'll help you out," and that kind of snowballed to
Yeah.
becoming a real
So
thing. So
you're talking flyers. So are we still like in like 2012 or like
oh,
20 twenty
so
thirteen?
so this was like, I think when I got that first client for designing flyers, that was probably like 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, man.
I'm not sure. I mean, I haven't been in the club since PD Pablo was popping. All right, that's just how long it's been for me. Right. So like, do they still pass out flyers after the club? Is that still a
I
thing?
mean, so here's the thing, right? So it's not even like flyers that people are printing. It's flyers for, so I mean, of course, like people are
Oh,
posting their
social
graphics.
media.
Yeah, exactly. So Instagram,
Oh,
Twitter, whatever,
okay,
whatever. So stuff like that. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
See,
So
that's
I
how
mean,
old I
yeah,
am. I'm still thinking of like son passing out flyers and putting them
yeah.
on the cars after.
Oh no, people
Yeah.
people still do that. I mean, like people will put them on your windshield, under the wiper,
Oh,
like
okay.
yeah. So yeah, that's still a thing. And
Yeah,
actually,
I'm total dad. Like I hang out here in the burbs,
yeah.
barbecues and stuff. Like it's like I don't go do nothing, man.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel, I mean, the cool thing about that too is, I mean, like, so I transitioned from flyers. What we do, so one of my clients is a real estate agent, and
Okay.
she needed graphics for like some door hangers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just did those too, right? So I mean, so I'm like, whether you're in the clubs or you're in
Yeah.
business, dad barbecue stuff, whatever you guys need.
Dad barbecue,
Listen,
baby.
I'll make flyers for the Fourth of July barbecue all day, whatever you
Yeah.
guys need. Yeah, man. So I do all that, man.
All right. I gotta ask.
Hmm.
Since you're in music, what's your favorite like album covers? Was it like the No Limit ones? Like the Wu Tang? Like what are your like album covers? Just like dang, this was like one of my just like favorite album covers of
So
all time.
it's funny you mentioned that. I definitely, without a doubt, I absolutely love the No Limit covers to the point where my one of my last singles, it was called Everything Lit. Like I actually I took the No Limit covers aesthetic and used it for
Mm-hmm.
that, but I threw in a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of my own. So I had like the bling, I had like the name of the song all blinged out. But I threw in like anime characters and some of my favorite cars and stuff like that. Like yeah, man. So like, but I love those covers too. I think probably my favorite album covers. Um, I love Jay Z's The Blueprint. It was pretty simple, but I love that album cover. I love. I think my favorite album covers now that I think about it are like the old covers from like the 70s and 80s, where like the cover was like actually painted by an artist.
uh
Like I love
huh.
those. Like I'm cause like you don't even like see those anymore. So yeah, I love stuff like that,
Um,
man.
the Camp Low cover. I always
Yeah,
like that one.
yeah,
The Uptown Saturday Night.
amazing,
That one.
amazing. Yeah.
Uh, and my all time favorite album all time. I
Mhm.
never stopped listening to it. Was AT Aliens. So that was like
Oh
one of my
yeah,
favorite covers.
amazing cover, man. Yeah,
And then those probably the two that kind of stand out for me was like I was like the No Limit ones. Like I just remember they were funny, man.
yeah.
Because like I was coming up and it was like, the beats weren't very clean.
Mhm.
It was and it was just like, oh, it's kind of silly,
Yeah.
but I always enjoyed them. But the Camp Low cover I always thought was really cool, and the Outcast, they always just had great ones. I think
Yeah.
Tribe Called Quest had some good covers, but
Oh,
like yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
for me it was like those two. It was like I was just like a real cool, like you said, the aesthetic was cool. It was like a, somebody had shared like a painting, and I was like, dang, that looks like the Camp Low cover. Like I don't know
Yeah.
where this is
Yeah.
from.
So I can't remember the name of the artist, but the artist, like, so that Camplo cover is made by actually a pretty famous artist, and
Hmm.
he has a bunch of art that's like that. Essentially, like he was very good at capturing like I don't want to say the black lifestyle, but like certain black events and cool things
The
like
vibe,
parties. Yeah,
yeah.
the vibes. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that
No,
was a
I
big
get what
thing
you're
he did.
saying.
Yeah,
Cuz no, I get exactly what you're saying because kind of like I caught the vibe there's a show called Snowfall,
yeah. Love
and
Snowfall.
it, like the first episode, they're like
Mm-hmm.
in LA. I'm from LA,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like, dang, that's what it felt like in it, like whatever, like it felt like. I was like, dang, they nailed what that felt like. And the same thing with Stranger Things, the first episode, like
Yeah,
it's like, dang, I remember being kids on bikes like that. Like they nailed that. I think
that.
that's why
Yeah,
the show was so popular, because it was like whatever that vibe was, in LA in the 80s, and like Stranger Things, those kids, in the 80s, like they nailed it. And that's what I get. And that I could get, like, that's what I mean. Maybe that's why I like that album so much, because I'm like, I'm Mexican dude, but I'm from LA, so all
yeah.
my friends, like, I played sports and stuff, so like we
Mm-hmm.
were always listening to rap. So I was like, oh, like I get what this album cover is doing.
Yeah.
And the songs on there, I thought captured it. And I always liked New York rap, even though I was from LA. Like I always liked the New York rapper, probably because like I was close to LA, and like cholos and stuff, always wanted to listen to like the cholo music. Like, oh man, you ruined it for me.
Yeah.
So like I have that because I don't know if you know Jeff Putnam, but
Oh
he
yeah, that's the
loves like
homie.
West Coast. He's like, I love West Coast gangster
Oh yeah,
rap. And I
he
was
he
like,
loves
no man.
NWA, and
Yeah.
honestly, yeah, yo, shout out to Jeff too. He's one of the greatest guys. I mean, like
He is.
awesome copywriter, good dude, family man. Like, yeah, I gotta shout out to Jeff too as well. Love that guy, man.
I've reached out to Jeff personally to help me with some stuff, and
Hmm.
he is like you said, he's totally worth it. Super helpful, like game changer stuff for me,
Yeah,
really, because
definitely.
I'm making my way into, like, trying to make money with some coaching stuff online. And because I'm like, dude, I always tell them, it's like, dude, I'm just a dude that fires off tweets. Like
Yeah,
I'll be talking about one thing over here and then be way out on this other side over here, and it's like, it's
yeah.
stuff I think it's funny or whatever. And it's like, oh, okay, let's get you disciplined a little bit, son. And so it's
Gotta
like, all right, I
focus
was
it.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, and that's a challenge, because you know, I work a job and I have a family and stuff, so that stuff's always on my mind. So it's like, okay,
yeah.
when can I sit down and do those things? And so like he's helped me out quite a bit with some of that stuff. So yeah, big shout out. Really, I actually had him on the podcast last year, and I'll have him. He doesn't know, but I'll have him again this
Yeah.
year, because it's just like one of the things that I really like about doing this is like I'm not like a one time like, hey, let's just do it one time and I'm trying to grow. It's like, no, I just want to
Yeah,
have conversations and then like invite people back and like have the conversation again. Like I've had
yeah.
Ed Lattimore on,
Good dude.
and
Another
dang, he
good
worked
dude.
really hard for that blue check mark, and you had it, and then they
Yeah,
took it away from you, man. Damn.
yeah, bro. I mean,
Gosh, my bad. I
and
don't want to bring up
hey, no,
no hard
honestly,
feelings.
I mean, I'm working on. Man, look, if somebody from Twitter is listening to this, man, like, yo, man, like, get my profile back. But no, I mean, honestly, the thing about it too is that I mean, like, I mean, it'd be awesome to have it back. But my main thing now is just building a really core following of people who are just kind of on the same wavelength, whether that
Yeah,
be 10,000, 50,000, 5,000, whatever it is. It's kind of building that community. That's the most important thing for me right now.
yeah, and I'm like, sometimes I look, I do look at my follower count. It's not
Mm-hmm.
very high, but I was like, you know what? I just want to say what I want to say, and if you rock with me, rock with me. Because like,
Yeah.
sometimes I'll be like, I'll say something like real loving Christian stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll talk about like hoes on another one.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
want to filter out, like, if you came for this loving Christian stuff, you're gonna have to take me talking about this too.
Yeah.
Or if you heard about me talking about this, you're gonna have to take me talking about this, and that's probably
Yeah.
why I'm so kind of undisciplined. Because like, hey, like if you don't like what I'm saying, then that's fine. You can leave. I
Yeah.
don't I'm gonna say what I want to say,
Yeah, I
but not get
agree.
suspended.
Yeah, yeah. I think my thing is like that's my thing too. I mean, I'll talk about entrepreneurship or whatever, but also talk about politics and social stuff and whatever. Because it's like I'm a regular person. We're regular dudes, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
like we're not just on one thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's why, like, some people will be like, oh, this dude's got a high follower count, like I can't approach him. It's like, dude, he's just a regular dude.
Yeah,
Like I've
exactly.
like I've reached out to people who have like high follower accounts for the podcast. Like, oh, he's not gonna. It's like, dude, he's just a regular dude. Like,
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
real. It's not that big a deal. You had a tweet that I thought was super insightful, super interesting, and you
Hmm.
said it in the Stefan way, but it was to the effect of like, don't waste your time on losers who have potential. They're gonna not only are they're gonna suck your energy. I'm
Yeah,
paraphrasing.
yeah,
Um, I think that was very insightful because, like, you're old enough. You're just like you hang around people and like, dang, this dude's got talent.
Yeah.
But in their mind though, it's just like you can't want it for them. Like what if you don't mind me asking, like what was
Yeah.
like the inspiration for that? If it's too personal like that, that's all
Oh no,
that's
it's all
cool. But
good.
I just thought it was very insightful because it's like, yeah, like sometimes it's heartbreaking to see people with talent and just
Yeah.
waste it.
I mean, honestly, that wasn't even necessarily from one person, one situation. Like I've known tons of people who are just super talented, super smart, super creative, and I give them ideas on things they can do, things they should do that would really take them to the next level. And they just either like come up with excuses or they sleep
Mm-hmm.
on themselves. They don't take action. And it's like, all right, well, cool. I mean, I've played my part. Like I was like maybe I was put here to like kind of spark that light for you. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna put out your own light, then there's nothing I can do. And honestly, like
Mm-hmm.
I've got my own things I'm trying to build and work on. I don't have time to hold your hand or babysit you or be
Mm-hmm.
your daily motivational speaker. It's like, bro, do what you can. And if you don't want to do it, then all right, cool. Like I actually I came up with it's like a phrase. I made a whole shirt out of it and the whole nine, but it's called the price just went up because I've worked with a lot of companies and done some consulting and it helped them kind of just like refine their business plans to come up with ideas or whatever, which they've executed and made tons of money off. And then I'll give the same advice to friends and family for free. And it's like they're just gonna they just ignore it. And I'm like, you know what? All right, cool. Well, my price just went up because like these people are paying for my ideas and they're listening and they're executing. I'm giving you the same game, if not more, for free, and you're ignoring it. So all right, cool. Like I don't have time to waste anymore. Like I've got to do my own thing. So
You know
yeah,
what's
man.
interesting? Well, there's like two things. Uh, Going back to your point that you give it for free.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's something about like the buy-in
Yeah.
of like when you pay for something, it's just
Yep.
like, oh,
Yep.
like I paid for this, so I'm gonna do what he said because I'm paying to listen to what he has to say.
Yeah.
And people will sometimes be like, oh, you're charging for this? Like, why are you charging for this?
Yeah.
It's like, well, because it matters. And
Yeah.
like, I paid the cost of the experience to kind of go through this. So like you're paying for like the pain that I went through
Exactly.
to the struggles that I went through to know these things. So and then on your end too, like if you want this to work, like you're gonna have skin you need to have skin in the game.
Yep.
And you paying is
It's
skin
part
in the
of it. Yeah.
game. So
That's skin in the game.
that's
Yeah.
like when the homies have something, like I pay for it.
Yeah. That's real.
First of all, because they're the homie and I want to support them,
Yeah.
but also for me,
Yeah.
like I just signed up for some writing classes,
Mm-hmm.
right? I've always told myself I'm not a writer. I'm not a writer.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, what if you thought you were?
Exactly.
And what if you like actually like sat down? So I've kind of found out like for myself, like if I have if I have if I do like a video course or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, that doesn't really work well for me. But if I have somebody one on one kind of like walking me through it, I do much better. So
Yeah.
it's like, all right, like pay for that then. Like,
Exactly.
well, if it's going to cost more, well, what's the cost of not doing anything?
Yeah. Exactly.
You're still in the same place.
Yeah. And I mean, like what you're doing is it's not even just skin in the game, it's an investment, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're supporting whoever is doing what they're doing and whoever's good at what they're doing, but also you're investing in your future self, and that's what it's about, man.
Mm-hmm. A big like I've always kind of done stuff like that, but
Mm-hmm.
never like in specific like skill type stuff. Cause I grew up and it was like, hey, you go get your job, you go to college, you go get your job, and you'll be good. It's like that's
Yeah.
not that world doesn't exist anymore. And
Nope.
then like I went back to school, and it's like, well, that really didn't help that much either. So it's like now I'm finding like, hey, if I kind of skill up in these certain places, then I can build some income for myself.
Yep.
But also the big thing is like I've I've had this realization is like I don't really know anything.
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to teach my kids?
Yeah.
I would be an irresponsible father not to be able to provide my kids with some type of skill, whether they accept it or not. It's just like, hey, I did teach you something.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I knew. You can accept it or not. You can go do your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But my responsibility as a father is to give you at least something. And right now, like it's a very humbling to be like, I have nothing to give them in this in this area.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with that.
That's real. And I mean, but you know what though? That takes a lot of self-reflection and honesty to be like, you know what? All right, cool. Like I want to acquire these skills because I want to hand them down. Because I mean, one, the good thing about it is acquiring skills for yourself is cool because in many ways kind of makes you like recession proof and you're able to bounce around and do different things. But also, I think giving your kids skills are some of the most important things you can do because, like you said, even if they don't want to go down that path, at least they have that and they learn that from you. Whether they know it or not, whatever you're giving them is going to actually be able to help them in other avenues and other areas as well too. So that's great. That's awesome, man. I commend that.
Right, because like I thought about it, it's like, well, say I was like I saw a movie, like right, the dad was like a butcher, and the son was like, I don't want to be a butcher.
Hmm.
It's like he's cutting up meat, but the dad has owned his own store or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, yeah, his dad taught him,
Hmm.
how to be a butcher. He
Yeah.
didn't want it, but he went off and did some other thing. I was like a
Yeah.
famous movie. I forgot what I watched. It was a long time. I got
Yeah.
dad brain that's part of it, but it was like, yeah, at least his dad taught him something, and
Yeah.
it's just like I want to teach my kids something. Like my kids I can't teach my kids how to go work in a cubicle. Like
Yeah. Exactly.
come, little Johnny, come with me in the cubicle and learn how to
Do
not
spreadsheets.
punch. Yeah, spreadsheets. Like click. It's like, no, that's not going anywhere.
Yeah, man.
Um, the other thing with the mindset thing though is like sometimes you want it so bad for people. Like, hey man, like you can do something like really incredible things, and like, but if they can't see it, like it's just like, hey, I gotta give you to God, because
Yeah.
I've done my part to try and encourage you, to try and help you
Yeah.
to see the potential in yourself. And it really is heartbreaking. I don't know if you remember that movie, The Bronx Tale, and I think
Yeah.
I don't know if it was his dad or the Sonny guy, but it's like one of the greatest tragedies is a waste of talent. That's
Yeah.
always kind of stuck with me, and I always kind of like had that kind of like anxiousness. It's like, dude, like God, you gave me some skills or abilities. Like, what are they, first of all? And
Yeah.
please don't let me waste them.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the irony of how full circle this whole conversation even goes. So I think I was telling you I had a friend who he like designed my first website, my album covers and stuff like that. We were actually doing a clothing line together, and I didn't know how to design clothes at the time. But I knew marketing. I had friends who had owned boutiques, and I knew influencer marketing. So I was like, all right, well, yo, you guys give me the clothes and the logos and whatever. I can get them in the store. I can get them sold. Get uh do all the marketing and the whole nine. And like they just weren't very serious about the business and like just kind of like let it fall apart. And I don't know what happened. I don't even know if he's still doing web design or whatever. But like I was like, damn, like this dude can design clothes. His artistic sense is crazy. He can do websites, videos, and the whole nine. And
Mm-hmm.
he just kind of like I don't just kind of fell off from doing that, and then I was like, well, damn, like all right, well, I'm just gonna kind of jumping out and doing my own thing, and like now I design websites, I have a clothing line, sold clothes, sold the whole nine, and I'm like, damn, like I'm making money off of doing like stuff that I didn't even think was possible, but I
Mm-hmm.
acquired the skills myself, and now it's like, damn, like now I can do all this myself, and it's
Right.
like had he believed in his own potential he could have been doing the same thing, but even at a higher level. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's crazy.
No, that is interesting. That you were able to pick that up too, though. It's just like, okay, well, like you're not gonna do it, like I'll do it. And
Yeah.
there's something to be said about like people will self sabotage like
Yeah.
crazy, and like I don't know. Part of me thinks it's like a self worth
Yeah.
issue, or if this works, I might have to change some things, or I'll have to keep on doing it. And there's a
Yeah.
fear of either the change or the fear of having to keep up with the excellence. So
Yeah.
that's always something that's kind of really interesting to me. Is like people who are obviously talented, like I played sports, so it's like dudes who are obviously like, dude, this dude's got, like Brandy Mossy got bopped on the head. Like, dude has the gift. Like,
Yeah.
you can do things that like you roll out of bed and do the things I can do like at a higher level.
Yeah.
But for some reason, there's something in your brain where you're just like, they're gonna throw it away
Yeah.
for some reason. That was always really kind of a hard thing for me to deal with, as like from a jealousy standpoint, it's like, hey, I'm doing all the right things and I can't do what you do.
Yeah.
But also at the same time of like, oh man, but like you're crazy talented. Like it would help all of us if if you let your light
Took it
shine like
serious,
it's
yeah.
supposed to be.
But I
Yeah.
think it's like, man, like I don't know, man, like at the end of the day, hard work beats talent every single time. And
Mhm.
I think people who are talented when it comes to them easily, it's like they take it for granted. And
Mhm.
the guy who isn't even half as talented, but he's in the gym, he's on the field, he's on the court, he's taking the classes, whatever, whatever. Like the guy who's working his ass off is gonna go further because like it means more to him. Like maybe it just didn't come easy or whatever it is, but like it's like they're willing to work harder. I mean, you got some folks who are the perfect balance of like they're talented and they're
Mhm.
gifted, and they're like, you know what?
Right.
Yeah, like I see this. Like guys, like I mean, you got guys like Kobe Bryant, right? Like,
Yeah.
matter of fact, you know, I'd even say LeBron James might be a better example because LeBron is like, he's physically built to do that, right? He's
Mhm.
skilled, talented, gifted in the whole nine, but he also works hard and treats that stuff like a science and executes at an amazingly high level. And I applaud that because it's like, you could just be a talented, and not even just in basketball. I mean, in business, and entrepreneurship and film and media. Like
Mhm.
you got special people who are like, you know what, I'm talented, but I'm not gonna squander it. Like I've got to hone it, I've got to increase it, I've got to improve it and get even better. And like I mean, like people like that are rare, man.
Those are like invigorating people to be around. A
Yeah,
talented
definitely.
person who is disciplined, like is just like, damn man, like they're. I think maybe that's why I really enjoy being on Twitter because I found a few guys who are kind of like that. It's like, dang, these guys are talented, they're killing it, but they're also like putting in the work that kind of goes along with it, not kind of like coasting. And it's just one of those things too where it's like you're not limited now to like your physical geography where it's like before it's like, hey, like I knew the people who were like within 10 miles or in my city or
Yeah,
whatever. Now it's just like, dude, I'm connecting with you, you're all the way in Florida, like like
yeah,
this would never have happened 30 years ago.
yeah,
Yeah, and you also had a recent tweet about like people talking about rich dad, poor dad. I think this is
yeah,
kind of like the same thing. Like people don't realize how cool social media has been, me especially, and what a kind of like a game changer it is. But I don't think people realize how much of a game changer that like Rich Dad Poor Dad people. Because I see some people bashing. It's like, oh, you read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and now you
yeah,
think like it's like, dude, that was a game changer for a lot of people when it came out.
yeah. And it's wild. So on my most recent episode of the podcast that my brother and I do, Brick by Brick, the episode's called Finance and Father because I just had my first child like a month and a half ago.
Oh, congratulations, man! I,
Thank you,
I
I
thought your wife
appreciate
is
that.
still pregnant. I saw the pictures of her. I was gonna ask, but
Yeah,
congratulations.
yeah. So the funny thing about it is, I mean, as an aside note, like I didn't even publicly announce anything to. Well, I did on Father's Day, but I ended up deleting it because I didn't want to have that. I didn't want to have my kid out there too much. But
Mm-hmm.
and social media can be kind of weird, and people are
Yeah.
just very weird. But yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah. So he's been here for a month and a half, super strong, super healthy, and so that inspired me to I'm like, all right, well, I'm a father now. There are a lot of guys who listen to our show who are fathers, and a lot of guys who are younger who aren't fathers yet. So I wanted to make an episode that's kind of focused on fatherhood, but also the finances of fatherhood and kind of how to put
Mm-hmm.
yourself in the right mindset. And I recommended three books. One of them was, of course, Rich Dad Poor Dad. The
Mm-hmm.
other one was Richest Man in Babylon, and the
Mm-hmm.
third one was I think it might have been Think and Grow Rich, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about that is like even with Rich Dad Poor Dad, people talk a lot of trash about it and say whatever they want to about it. But there was a podcast that I listened to a lot called, or I used to listen to a lot called the Bigger Pockets podcast. And
Mm-hmm.
if they had 10 guests on the show and they asked them what their favorite book was, eight of the guests said Rich Dad Poor Dad. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, well, listen, like if you got people who are actual investors who have big real estate portfolios and they're making, and even if they're not in real estate, like they're making a bunch of money and they're successful, and a lot of them credit that book as to why they're successful. I'm like, all right, well, like you can hate on it, but people who are actually successful found real value in this book, and that to me is
Mm-hmm.
really all that matters. Like I mean, like
Yeah.
if you don't like it, cool, but like people who are actually getting real results love this book, and I respect that, man.
Because there is a skepticism to for some people, right? It's like, oh, this is very basic, or it's, you know, silly. Like, oh, you needed that.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's like, well, son is over here getting real dollars
Yeah.
and making real change for him and his family. So
Yeah.
there's something to that.
Yeah.
So don't disregard. Like there's this phrase that I kind of learned. I went through some leadership courses, and it was like, results are often harsh, but they're always fair.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you can bash the book all you want, but the results are speaking for themselves. Like people are doing well in their lives, and they're crediting this book. So
Yeah.
maybe don't be so dismissive of it. And
Exactly.
I think for me too, like I'm a natural guy that likes to like make fun of stuff just because I'm always like looking for a laugh, you know,
Yeah.
kind of thing. But at the same time, it's like there is a part of me. It's like, oh, just slow down. Don't like clown on something.
Yeah.
Like take a look at what's really going on and what's really happening. And are you missing out on an opportunity because you think it's silly? I talked to Dan Go about this. Because I thought the same thing about social media, like Twitter. It's like, oh, that's silly. Like, oh, Bitcoin. It's like, dude, all these Chuck E. Cheese coins. It's like, dude, people got paid. So
Yeah.
like, stop making fun of stuff and just like
Yeah.
take a look and see what the results are or what the possibilities are, because you could be on the front end of something and miss out on the opportunity because
Exactly.
you're not open to it.
Exactly. Yeah, man. That's exactly right.
And I wanted to talk about your podcast too,
Mhm.
because and the show. I like that you call it the show, because I don't really like saying podcast either, because it sounds kind of nerdy. But it's like, so I try to say the show, but I'm in the habit.
Mhm.
But you had on Brian Robinson,
Mhm.
and you guys had talking about the rental cars, and that was really fascinating to me because, like I said, I was you know, in real estate, and it's like, you know, the high amount of capital that you needed to play the game.
Mhm.
Um, and then learning about rental cars, and that was another thing, because I'd never heard about some of these companies that he was
Yeah.
talking about.
Mhm.
So I thought it was real cool that you guys, you know, had that conversation on that podcast with Brian. How are you connected with him? Did you just know him before, or he was just like a
Met
guest
him
that you
on
invited?
Twitter. Met him on Twitter, man. I've been connected with Brian since my original Twitter account. But
Okay.
I think all these folks, I met them on Twitter, man. Connected with them, and good guys. Respect what they talk about. Respect their business acumen and their skills. And yeah, that's what it's about, man. So yeah, met him on Twitter like I met you on Twitter, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Have you dabbled into the rental car stuff, or is
Oh,
that, you know, 'cause,
oh, bro.
no?
We got a car on tour right now. Like bro. I can 5-star reviews. Like our Turo clients absolutely love me, bro. Like yeah,
Uh
man.
huh.
Yeah, man. So
Did you try hire car or just Turo?
not yet, only Turo so far, but
Yeah,
actually,
but I had
yeah,
never heard of it. Like the hire car to me was like really,
a
like I
hire
was like,
car
oh,
is
like
huge.
people.
Like I mean, like, cause think about it, right? Like I think that's even a better business model than Turo. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say better, but I think maybe for even for the user, it's cool because these people they they need your car to make money. So you're making
Mm-hmm.
money because they're making money, and it's a mutually beneficial relationship. Like they're using your car for Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, whatever it is, and
Mm-hmm.
it works out for everybody. I think it's awesome, man.
Well, the thing that was really interesting to me is that it seemed like it was a little bit longer term, right?
Hmm.
Term.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Turo, you might like get somebody for the weekend or like a
Hmm.
day or two, because
Yeah.
they're, you know, just like a car rental. Whereas the hire car was fascinating to me because, like you said,
Months.
it's like, oh, I needed to make money. So it's like, well, if I'm going to keep on using this car, like you know, it being out for like a month or 2 months, it's like, dang, that's
That's money. That's good money, man.
that, yeah, that is crazy. And then I mean, we're talking about like, I haven't looked at the price of cars, but I mean 25,000 for a car, as
Yeah.
opposed to like, hey, like here in Phoenix, if you're gonna buy a low end house, now you're looking at, you know, 350. It's like, you
Yeah.
know, you have to come up with some pretty big down payment to be able to cash flow on
Yep.
that. I mean, the rents are going up too, but still, it's like, you know, you you could get, you know, for that down payment, you could get like, I don't know, 10 cars. I don't know.
Exactly.
I haven't bought a car in a while either, but it was
Yeah.
like just like that whole thing though. Like I appreciate it as like, I had never thought about this. This is something that is gonna be on my radar. I'm a guy that I have like shiny object syndrome. So it's like,
Mm.
there's like 10 things. It's like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. So it's like, okay, now I'm trying to like focus in on one thing, but that's something that's like definitely on my radar. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, like that would be really cool. Like I could, because I was always like, like, you know, I read Rich Dad, so they're always talking about real estate. So I was like, I was always like real estate, real estate, real
Hmm.
estate. But now it's like, well, this is a way you can kind of build in to like ladder yourself or take the step like, hey, go here.
Yeah.
It's the buy-in is a lot less, and then work your way up. Because I'm not a car guy. I've never
Hmm.
cared for cars. I always liked houses and stuff like that. So it
Yeah,
was always kind of like natural. But it's just like the capital is like oof.
exactly,
I, I,
exactly.
I had to, I had to sell some houses because I had to pay for kids' school and stuff. Man, the kids are not
Yeah,
cheap, man.
kids aren't cheap, not at all. For real, man.
What are some goals? I mean that you have, if you don't mind me asking. For I mean being a new father that you
Hmm.
have
Yeah.
for your son.
Oh man, from my, I mean, well, so I was kind of discussing that on the last episode. The big thing for me, one of the things that I want to do is, for like each of his birthdays, I want to buy a rental property, for him,
Mm-hmm.
because like at the end of the day, like the more cash flow that you've got, like that one, I mean, like kids are expensive, so
Mm-hmm.
if you've got a property that's cash flowing, that can fund his lifestyle and take care of him, whether it be from diapers to paying for college later on. Like that's a goal for me. And on top of that, like putting them in his name, he'll get money from the cash flow monthly, but also get money because he'll be building equity in that. So if he wants to sell it, refinance it, move into it, whatever he
Mm-hmm.
wants to do, like he can build wealth that way. Um, but I mean, overall for him, I just want him to be just a stand-up man. I want him
Mm-hmm.
to be smart, be strong, be compassionate, empathetic, just all around
Mm-hmm.
good person, man. And like I mean, 'cause he's only been here a month and a half, but he's already getting so big. He's so smart,
Yeah.
so cute, man. So yeah, I just want the best for him, man. Yeah,
For sure. That's a
yeah,
good daddy. It's like you want the best, and I think that's a admirable goal, though.
yeah.
Because when you said that, it reminded me of the interview that Damon Dash did on the Breakfast Club,
Mm,
and he had talked about like having, and that was kind of going back to what I had said about like I
mm.
hadn't really learned anything. I don't know if you saw that interview that he did on the
Is it one
Breakfast
from like
Club.
a couple of years ago, or is it a new
Yeah,
one?
it's a couple year. Yeah, it's a
Oh
couple
yeah,
years old.
that's a
Yeah,
classic interview at this point.
yeah, it
Yeah,
was
man.
it was a great interview, and people like you said, you were talking about Andrew Tate, like it's like, oh, he pops off. It's like, no, you're not listening to what he's saying.
Yeah,
He's not bashing people that are having jobs. It's just that he wants to be able to like teach his son to have those opportunities, and that was
yeah.
like what he was saying. It's like my if my son wants to open up a shop, I have the ability to
Support
help
that,
him
invest in it. Yeah,
to do those things, and to me that's just being a good daddy.
yeah,
And
man,
so like
definitely.
and this is me coming from a place where I don't have that ability yet,
Mm, yeah,
but my goal is to have that ability
yeah,
so they can do it. Like my dad didn't have that ability, but that's not an excuse for me not to be like, okay, just because I didn't have it doesn't mean that my kids aren't going to have it. Because
exactly.
like on a kind of similar vein, like I remember when my wife and I were discussing having kids and where they were going to go to school, and I was like, well, I was a public school kid. My kids are going to go to public school.
Yeah.
Now, no, they will not.
No, they won't.
No, no, they will
Yeah.
not. I mean, so it's just like one of those things. It's like, okay, this was maybe this was good enough for me, or it was just what I had. But
Mm,
just because it's what I had doesn't mean that my kids are gonna have the
exactly.
same. I want them to like I stood on the shoulders of my grandfather and my father. I want them to stand on my shoulders,
Yep.
and I want them to be stand up so much higher because, not to, my grandpa is my hero, not
Yeah.
to take away from that, but just that, hey, God gave me certain things, and I did what I could with what I had to the best
Yep.
of my ability.
Yep. That's what it's about, man. Sure.
And so, do you do like the web design? Are you looking for any kind of like specific kind of clients, like you had mentioned, like real estate and flyers and stuff like that? Is there
Hmm.
is there like a perfect client where like, yeah, these are the ones that I really like.
You
I
know what's
can
funny?
knock these out. These are great people to work with.
You know what's funny? I do kind of want to niche down a bit, but at the same time, like, bro, like, I can build websites for almost any business, man, from real estate to, I build a lot of e-commerce sites, so people who want to sell like clothing, t-shirts, stuff like that. I can build those sites in my sleep. Build real estate websites. I really want to start look. I actually want to I want to start building websites for like doctors and dental offices and stuff like that as well too. But I can build sites for just about any kind of business, whether you be a party promoter or a musician, or you want to do some e-commerce, or even if you're an author, you want to sell books, whatever you want to do, I can build a site for just about anything, man. Yeah,
Nice, man.
that's it.
We're coming up on time here.
Mhm.
Any kind of last notes before we start wrapping this bad boy up?
Oh
Oh, wait a
man,
minute, wait a
yeah.
minute. Favorite Chappelle show episode.
Oh man, my so here's the funny thing, right? It's crazy you brought that up. I think the Chappelle show might be like it's like top three favorite shows of all time. It's probably
Mm-hmm.
Chappelle Show, The Sopranos, and The Wire.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite Chappelle Show episode, it might just be the Rick James episode. I think that
Mm-hmm.
one is absolutely hilarious. I mean, it's almost
Yeah.
cliche, but I think that's hilarious. I can't even pick a show. I can give you some skits. So the Rick
Okay.
James show, that one's hilarious. Um, uh, the reparations episode is hilarious.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The racial draft is hilarious. But I think even just episode one with the Clayton Bigsby, like the black,
Bixby.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
like bro, like that is, I mean, it's funny on just a regular funny level, but it's also pretty genius too, man. Like it's hilarious, man. Like and I actually so when I was rapping, I did a show in San Francisco, like opening up for Dead Prez and a couple of other guys.
Oh no way.
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh
I actually
wow.
I actually opened up for Dead Prez twice. Once in DC, during Occupy DC, and once it's like when I was in my super activist like
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
that whole
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
On your
So
on your dead prez.
yeah, exactly right. And I still kind of am on my Dead Prez, just not as maybe Marxist and socialist and whatever, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I did a show with them in the West Coast. Actually, I think three times. I did a show with them in DC and in Austin for South by Southwest, and once in San Francisco. And at the San Fran show, Dave Chappelle actually showed up, and
Mm.
and he's my favorite comedian of all time. And
Right.
when I met him, he was just as cool, if not cooler than you would have expected. Like I met a lot of celebs, and it's kind of like 50 feet. Like some of them are cool, some of them are just
Mm.
total dickheads. But
Mm-hmm.
Chappelle was awesome, super personable, like just the coolest dude, man. So yeah, I love Dave Chappelle, man. Super cool dude.
Uh, he came back out when he came back out. I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Hmm.
Uh, my wife bought me tickets because she knows I'm a huge like he's like my favorite comedian. But you know him, Eddie Murphy, you know, like are like my favorite.
Yeah, the ghost, man.
But I remember we went to the show though, and they had like the DJ like hyping everybody up. It's like, make some noise for Dave, and I'm like, dude, I'm a grown ass man. I'm not gonna be over here cheering for nobody, man.
Yeah.
Stop. And then when Dave came out, I was like, Dave! I lost my I lost it. It was like, dude, like it's like he's right there,
Dave's
Dave.
the
So it was
man,
like
yeah,
the
man.
like I don't you know what they call it, fanboying. Like I'm not really like that. Like
Yeah,
celebrities, like yeah, like I like whatever. I don't care. Like even like athletes or whatever. I was like
yeah,
yeah, man, whatever. But it was like Dave. It was like he moved the needle for me, man.
yeah.
So yeah,
Dave's dope, man.
shout out to Dave if he listens to this.
Yes, sir. Yeah, if you hear this, Dave, yo, shout out. And you know, I like the same thing with you. Like I'm not a super fanboy dude, but and here's the thing, right? So when I met Dave, I just wanted to meet him, shake his hand, say what's up, cool dude. And I like didn't want to fan out to the point I didn't even ask for a picture, but I wish
Hmm.
that I did so that I could document that moment in time because like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
awesome, man.
That's interesting too, because it's like, yeah, like I don't want to be that guy, but there's certain people who are just like,
Yeah, you
yeah,
want to, yeah,
that would have been cool. Because I think part of it too is like people on social media like, want to take pictures for everything,
yeah,
and it's just like, oh, like, hey man, like, but that would have been like really cool for you just to have for yourself. Like, yeah, man, I
yeah,
gotta
man.
agree with you on that one. Like, yeah, you probably should have
I know,
taken a
man.
picture.
But you know what?
Sorry.
I feel like I'm gonna meet him again, and
Yeah,
I'm gonna get that opportunity again. So it'll happen, man. Keeping my
yeah.
fingers crossed. Yeah, man.
Fingers crossed for you, brother. Me too, man. I like yeah. I want a picture with Dave. Like I don't know. I like people who make me laugh. In you know, like you're one of those people, man. Like you're a regular dude, but like you know, you say what you want to say, and I really appreciate that about you. So,
Respect.
this is the Reach Your Keys podcast. He is Stefan Grant. You can find him on Twitter at Steph is dope. I have an affinity for people who say dope because I feel like I'm dating myself when I say it. So, but I like that you're still saying it.
But
So
you know what though? A lot of people don't even know this, man. So I love the term dope in general, but the dope in my name actually also stands for driven on positive energy because that's what I'm about. You
oh,
know what I mean? So yeah, man, driven on positive
driven on
energy
positive energy. Man, that's the
all day.
perfect wrap up right there.
Yes, sir. That's what it's about,
Thank you
man.
so much for coming on the show, Stefan.
Thank you,
Thank
brother.
you guys for listening. Have a good one, everybody.
Peace.